order meeting, attendance by Commissioner Higgins, Johnson, Randy Sylvester, DPW Superintendent, Steve Dempsey, Sewer Commission, Liz Welch, DPW Administrator, and we have Tom Patch and some other people. We also have somebody from the
Sarah Purcell.
Yourself from Conservation?
Conservation, yeah. I know this lady is here.
Christina.
Okay, oh, so that's right, okay. Okay, I guess the first order of business is the minutes of the meeting, prior meeting.
Ed, you skipped one.
Huh?
You skipped the first one. Yeah, come on, Ed.
Yeah,
Let's get it over with, all right?
all right, the minutes of the meeting, all right. I had a question on that. On March 20th, Poderski Corporation cleaned fog from wet wells. Is the minutes?
Ed,
What?
number one on the agenda.
Yeah, but I'm going to the minutes. I get something, I don't want to comment on the minutes, the last meeting.
Yeah, but we have to get this done first. That's the first item on the agenda. We need to get that done, Ed. Okay? Whether you agree with it or not, we must get it done. Okay? It's important for us to get that done.
Yeah, but we have the minutes of the prior meeting, which I'm trying to go over, you know? That's, I had a question on it. Okay?
Go ahead.
What should have been, that was April 7th, was it?
April 7th, that's
Yeah,
correct.
okay. On March 20th, Poderski Corporation cleaned fog from wet wells at Mill Street, Lewis Court, wherever. Where was National Water Main, Steve? Weren't they available or what?
They were unable to remove the grease from the town, and the snow and the dumpster that we use out back had already been tested and was waiting to be dumped, as we have to do. So we didn't have a dumping facility for the grease. So I had Poderski come in because they could get rid of the grease.
Okay.
Not National.
But normally, we have a contract with National,
I
right?
had spoke with National prior to calling Poderski, and they said there's no way they could get rid of it. So we were at the point that the station was starting to not
I
operate.
just wondering about that.
So we had to do it.
I think I had one other,
National Water Main.
They do all our cleaning.
on the Bayberry, was that station, was that bid put out?
That bid hasn't been put out. Steve Peterson, I was going to go through that in the supervisor's report, if you'd
Okay.
like.
All right. Then they had Delisandro Corporation, 3 specific areas they were supposed to be doing. What was the scope of the camera inspections, and what was the pressure on the jetting?
We light cleaned you're talking about the Forest Main on Downer Avenue?
Yeah.
We light cleaned it, so it was no more than 250 PSI.
Yeah.
We cambered the line to see the severity of the tuberculation in the line. Most of the line is open. We're gonna just work with it as is for now.
Yeah, the only reason I asked is because we had a problem at Talbot's there when they were jetting there, and the stuff went into the impeller. We had to put a new pump in. I think sometimes maybe this jetting with the pressure, with the older, masonry, the pieces come off, and that's you hit the impeller.
Well, what happened at Greenbush was we were doing the manhole rehabilitation for manhole 290, and they had to pressure wash all the old deteriorated cement off the walls. And some of that made it down into the Greenbush station. That's why we were cleaning the floor of the station.
Okay. I just wondered whether
And that's all covered under the MWRA I&I.
All right.
That's the scope of work.
Yeah.
I think that's about all I have on that. No, that's it. I want to make a motion that we accept it.
My motion is that we go back to item number 1 on the agenda.
Yeah, but you got to accept the minutes of the last meeting first.
No, that's second. This is first.
Okay, I see what you're saying, yeah.
Yeah, okay. We need to get that done.
All right, the first item is reorganize the Shore Commission. I'll speak on it. Normally, precedent has been set that the chairman has a term of 1 year, so my term would be up in August. So do you want anything to say on it, or?
Well, I think it's important, Ed, and without too much debate, I think it's very important for the commission, for everybody. And if we want to go by tradition, we're going to get further and further behind. This consolidated agreement's been going on for almost a year, and we have made zero progress on it. We have to get.
Yeah, we're not talking about that. We're talking.
Well, my reason for bringing this up, Ed, is we need to have a better forward plan. We have to go forward in a different manner. Okay.
Well, I thought we were moving forward pretty well myself.
Well,
I got two good commissioners with me. I had
Well,
you in one phase of it, and Kenny in the construction, you know.
Yeah, I did not realize that that your term as chairman wouldn't be up until August.
One of the, maybe for consideration might be that, and I don't know, the term of the chair might last for a fiscal year, so you're responsible for the budget and everything for that one fiscal year,
Right.
which would mean it would end, I think, a little bit sooner than August, but, because I think our fiscal year starts July 1st.
July 1st, yeah.
So that might be a,
Well, we'll go to July 1st. I don't care, you know.
Well, I don't want you to think that we don't appreciate you.
Yeah,
because we do.
don't put me under the bus.
I'm not throwing you under the bus, okay? But we do have some things we got to get done.
All right, if you
But
bring
here's-
them up
all right,
to
I'll
me.
tell you what, I'll agree with you under this condition, Ed. You give me the consolidation agreement to work out with the selectmen, and I'll get it done.
I'll go, yeah, listen,
Let me
we'll bring
get
it
it
up,
done.
we'll bring it up. I want to bring that up. I asked you to postpone it until the 12th because I was meeting with council
Oh, okay.
All right.
When are you meeting with council?
this week.
Okay.
So do you want to go with?
July, all right. The
July.
July meeting, Ed,
All right,
it's got to be done, okay? And then we can talk about, all right?
all right.
All right,
And
I'm not
we-
going to throw you under the bus.
Don't
but-
throw me under the
No,
bus.
I'm not gonna-
The minutes now,
Okay, I'd make a motion, we accept the minutes,
okay.
okay? Previous
Taking the
meeting.
motion?
I second the motion.
All those in favor?
Yeah.
Aye.
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 Okay, the next thing is the Walton Cove project.
You know, before, you know, what, Ed, can I make a suggestion? This rules and regulations
Yeah.
that we finally have now, that we are getting ready to socialize and put in a newspaper, and we have a 3-week period where we have to put it and everything else. It's all done. It's all been reviewed by the lawyers and by everybody else. So we just want to go forward with that. And Liz, could you, if you get a chance, could you help us with the notification in the newspaper for that, for those rules and regulations? 3 consecutive weeks, okay, right? And we have to put it on the website, okay? We could discuss it a little
I
bit.
don't think they're totally done, Bob.
No, it's not done, see?
No, I'm talking about just the
betterment part?
regulations, that's correct.
You
Yeah,
said the
just
whole
that
thing.
portion, yeah.
Oh, you said the whole thing. I thought you.
Yeah, no, not that, just the betterment regulations, okay? So we have to get that in order and socialize it and then put it in the newspaper for 3 weeks. All right? And, if
Do you want to
can
just
help
wait
me-
until it comes up on the agenda,
Well, I don't know
Bob?
if, where's council, that she's left already.
That's number 5, Bob, so we can
Oh.
take that
Okay,
at number 5?
Rules
okay.
and regulations, yeah.
Yeah, okay, I just wanted to get it going, that's all, because
Okay.
it's
Well,
important.
let's go in order, and then
Okay,
we'll get to
okay.
it.
Walton Cove project.
All right, well, thank you for having us. This is our sort of second presentation for this year of the Walton Cove project, and Chris Hool is here from Horsley Witten to go over the final project designs with you and give you a sense of where we're at and what our next steps are. So I will let him make the presentation. I'll get out of the way.
I've got the full plan set here on the boards. I don't think we need to go through every sheet in detail, just first, but as questions come up, I'll be happy to pass it around, and you can pass this around a little closer when questions come up. But I'll first just give you a little background into the project. About last April, myself with Horsley Witten Group, and along with Abby, we went through the watershed for Walton's Cove and identified a series of practices, stormwater practices that could be implemented to improve water quality in Walton's Cove. We determined that the total drainage area going to the Walton's Cove was about 98 acres. And throughout those 98 acres, we identified practices kind of covering the vast majority of that watershed. So what you see in front of you today is there's two fire retention areas or rain garden type areas that we're proposing on the sewer pump station lot on the corner of Daly Drive and Downer Ave. These sites rose to the top of the ranking list for the entire watershed, primarily because they're on public property, as well as the amount of drainage area that would be going to these practices.
Do you have a blow-up of that property?
Unfortunately, I have the landscape plan, which is a 10 scale relative to that was 30 scale. But I'll have to pass these around. So this is the property here. Shows the bios a little bit better. I can move this closer too.
That's fine.
What's the area in the front of the station?
That's good. That's
good. The area, sorry, is that right here?
That area right in there, yeah.
So the way we've designed these practices is to accept runoff from the two streets, both Daly Drive and Downer Ave. So this here is a paved drainage flume, essentially just a depressed, I have the construction detail, but it's just a depressed paved area that would take runoff.
I'm also talking about the lawn. What's up in the lawn there?
Right here?
That area.
This is the bioretention area, which is, I can show you a cross section. They essentially look.
So it'd be an
See,
excavator.
if we need to get a truck in there,
Didn't you say
we
we
may have a problem.
Yeah.
Well, we've looked into. This is essentially a cross section of what the drainage feature would look like. It's a practice that would take runoff from the street, allow it to pond to a certain depth, about 6 inches, and then would spill over to an outlet structure not dissimilar to a regular catch basin.
So it's an open swale? Is it an open swale?
Exactly. It's an open practice. It only has water in it for about 24 hours after it rains. The water drains through a sandy material, a sandy planting material that treats the water.
How deep is the swale?
It's the depth of the surface is about 6 inches, so it's a shallow depression. 6 inches of ponding, and then you maybe another foot above that, so a total of about 18 inches max depth. But it's excavated into the soil, so the total cross section is a little bit higher, and it varies depending on which one we're looking at. But approximately 2 feet. I can pass that around again. But so there's two practices. They're separate. One is taking Daly Drive, the larger of the two, which is the larger drainage area. It's about half an acre, and this is only about just over a tenth of an acre for this practice. So drainage would come off the street, enter into this paved drainage flume, into this bioretention area, pond up about 6 inches, and then enter a new drainage structure that would be on the sewer commission
Is that the
property.
station right above there?
Yes, this is the pump station. We've prior to doing this plan, we did a dig safe and we had all utilities marked out. We know that you have the sewer mains entering in the pump station right here, so we've located the practice away from that, away from the vaults, and so where this excavation would not impact.
So you
impact
got room
those.
for a truck to go up there, Steve?
I don't think so. We put,
We did do test pits here at the site last spring, and we brought a machine in, worked right on the pavement, and was able to access this area as well. There are 2 trees that would be impacted, one per location, both small trees, 12-inch diameter or smaller. But certainly room to work in terms of bringing a machine in to dig these practices here as well as here.
well, my issue is pulling a Vector truck up to those doors.
The doors are on
or-
the other side or which side?
They're on the front, or a pump truck, or a crane truck, or any piece of equipment that we need to get right up to the doors.
A truck could easily back in the driveway, which is accessible off of Daily Drive, and
Come across?
yeah, and these aren't catch basin units either, so you wouldn't need those here. Your catch basin would remain in the street; it would be functional.
I understand, I'm
Yeah.
not trying to be difficult, I'm just,
Yeah.
if we run into an emergency, we're gonna run right through that.
We have to operate the station. Now,
understand.
from what I can see, that
Okay.
top basin is...
This one here.
No, the one towards, yeah. That's a couple of feet off the driveway, if I see correctly.
Yeah. Yep.
How well does that take snow and debris? I mean, that's the main area where we pile snow, and is heavy equipment going to be able to go through there? Because,
We push all the snow.
yeah,
into the driveway.
that's
Snow
where
for
the
the snow off of the
snow off the driveway in the station.
Yeah.
I mean, this year, that whole area there's 12 feet of snow there.
Easy.
I mean,
Well, in terms of what other option we could have for this, I know you were talking about in case there was an emergency and you're bringing a truck through here. It's a slightly smaller drainage area, and there'd be impact. We try to minimize any impact, but it's a larger, older tree of 24 inches. We could propose almost exactly the same practice in this area, a little smaller
think
footprint, little smaller drainage area, and that would kind of alleviate the issue of if you had an
I
emergency,
think that'd be great.
you wouldn't have to drive over that practice. In terms of the snow, you can put snow into those facilities. I mean, they'd be planted, so there'd be some potential impacts to the plants.
Can we
I-
select our planting list to be able to be a little bit more tolerant?
Yeah, and we did. We
Grassy?
picked a very low maintenance, mostly grass, mostly grasses.
that area might have to be
Yeah.
redesigned, because we're going to have a place to put the snow.
Sure.
And I don't want to have to replant plants every year
Right.
because of the season, because of the winter, and I don't see the winters getting better lately.
Is the snow, is it primarily just for the driveway?
Yeah, like this year we had 100 inches.
Sure.
It all went right there.
You know, it goes there,
115
then
inches.
at the mouth of the driveway, you have to, the apron, you gotta push it back the corners, so.
I have 2 questions for you.
Yeah.
The drain pipe coming down from the upper basin to the lower basin,
This one here, yep.
what's the elevation of that pipe in the ground? Can we drive over that without breaking it, like with a Vector truck or
Yeah,
something?
yeah, it's,
Yeah, quite a way.
plenty deep left of the surface grade in that area is approximately 58, and the pipe invert is 55. So it's HDPE, those are rated with 12 inches of cover. And,
12 inches of cover on an HDPE pipe.
yep, it's a corrugated HDPE.
Yeah,
That's
like a
the,
DES.
yep, exactly. So, yeah.
That will support the weight of the Vector truck even at that,
Yeah, and
Figure
if we
it
did,
out.
if we did have to flip this location over here, the design would not change. It would be exactly the same design, but we would just run the pipe. This pipe would no longer be in this location. This pipe would probably then connect from here to here and then over. So it would be underneath pavement and all that. So if your concern was driving over that pipe actually wouldn't even.
yeah, because
be
you know,
in
they
that
have
area.
that large equipment, I'm not
Yeah.
an expert, but they have large
Yeah.
equipment to also remove the snow, push it up. And that's the equipment itself is pretty heavy, so I don't know if the
Yeah.
pipe would tolerate that kind of weight, especially where one or two axes could be over.
The ADS corrugated pipe, it's H20
I know it's
rated.
strong.
Yeah, it's H20 rated for
Okay.
12 inches of cover, which we have more than that, so. But yeah, like I said, it would be, you'd essentially mirror
plate over
this right to that area, and it would, instead of picking up this drainage area, it would pick up a little bit from here and a little bit more from
So you'd lose the bigger
It'd be
tree.
almost equivalent.
Okay, second question, are the basins themselves require a management program? Cleaning?
There is a maintenance plan about once a year to just look at the facility. I mean, you already go out to your catch basins, maintain those once a year, at least once a year to Vector. In this
We're gonna
case,
have to clean those out and.
yeah, it'd be, there may be some sand or debris that collects at the inlet that we would try to remove that, and then any sort of trash or that might collect in the, after the winter or the
So-
weeks.
With the pipes being in where they are, and the outflows being here, okay, how much standing water below the outflow level is it going to be in those basins?
There wouldn't
Once
be
there.
no standing water. The practice would drain in about 24 hours. There's an under drain system. That's
Okay.
what this pipe is here, and then this pipe. So it would pond temporarily for about 24 to 48 hours maximum after a storm, and then it's a sandy material, so it would drain quickly, and then there would be an under drain to make sure that that it would drain out.
So we wouldn't get mosquito
Those-
calls.
Yeah, no mosquito issues.
For the,
Mosquito control.
are the basins themselves, is there a liner to them, or is it, are you allowing
there isn't a
stormwater to
liner.
infiltrate?
We are in fill conditions, particularly in this area. So we did propose filter fabric, low permeability filter fabric, but not like a impermeable
Permeable.
liner or anything like that. Just
That's just a silt barrier, is that what
Yeah,
you're using?
yeah.
So have you, and I'm not familiar with the surrounding homes, I've been involved fairly recently with a project that we had stormwater collection on site and then infiltration.
Yep.
And it negatively impacted adjacent properties where it altered sort of the groundwater flow, and so a neighbor's home started getting water in their basement that they never had before, because all of a sudden we're introducing all this water into the ground nearby. And I just want to make sure that you've considered those types of issues.
Definitely, yeah. We have the low permeability filter fabric as well as the under drain system. So these aren't designed as infiltration facilities; they're designed as treatment facilities. So the runoff would, although it would enter the basin first, it would ultimately be connected into the existing drain system that's already there. So there would be for this practices itself, there'd be no change to the. You might have some infiltration, but through the fabric, a small amount, but not anything that wouldn't affect a neighbor's property. We have also proposed, outside of the sewer commission's site here, a number of improvements along Downer Ave, and those would. We did test pits for every location, and they're sandy soils, so you would have some infiltration, which is what we're part of the objective as well. But any sort of infiltration facility or that we're proposing is above the water table, so you'd be introducing some additional water into the ground, but you're above the water table, so we wouldn't be affecting groundwater flow in any way. We've identified where groundwater is at every location, and I have the test pit logs on that drawing if you'd like to. I suppose a little bit more detail if you wanted to know how deep groundwater was, but there'd be no change to groundwater flow. Essentially, everything's flowing to Walton's Cove right now, the way of the grade of the land.
Where is the nearest dwelling to the station here?
The nearest
The pump station, where is the nearest dwelling?
dwelling? There's one. This is a residential property here.
Right below you.
There's one around the elevation, like he was talking on the runoff.
This one's just off the sheet, but this is a residential property here as well as this one's probably the closest one. But there's no dwelling put in.
Probably 60 feet. Just, I go there all the time, so, I mean, yeah, 60 feet.
Well, like I said, these practices have an under drain, and because they're in a fill condition, we weren't proposing that. These other practices in the road are really just maintaining very small drainage areas, so they're impact to groundwater levels. And those would also have under drain systems as well, to the existing drain.
And then those, what storm frequency are you using for the base
These
design?
calculations, yeah, the target storm is referred to as the water quality storm, or essentially 1 inch, the first 1 inch of rainfall from the particular drainage area. So and we're not taking a 100-year storm or anything like that to this practice. Actually, I'm actually glad you brought up that question. This modification to this catch basin here in Daly Drive is a diversion structure. So that's designed, and this is the larger of the two drainages, it's about half an acre. So this is designed to only take that first 1 inch of runoff. Anything additional would bypass internally within that diversion structure and continue down the existing drain system. They're nothing larger than approximately the 1 inch event would go to this practice, which is how we designed it, and that's the goal. Because we're targeting just essentially the dirtiest water, the
First flush, yeah.
So we wouldn't flood in a 5-inch storm.
Exactly. No, it would continue down the existing drain system as it is today.
Is that a valve?
It's not a valve, it's through a weir. So essentially there's a structure with, it's a precast structure with a weir in it and a pipe. So essentially the inlet pipe itself is the controlling device that would only allow a certain amount of water. So anything higher, any flows higher would continue down. And I do have a detail on that if you want to look at that a little closer. So I guess what we'd be looking for you today, which we've got the initial comments that driving over this would be an issue, so we could mirror exactly the same practice in this location. The footprint might change slightly, just kind of try to work around this.
So you'd be taking down the bigger tree.
Well, we would try to avoid that. We could maybe do a kidney type shape. And I'll have to look at the drainage area again a little closer, but something to avoid impacts to the tree, because that is an old one that we would not want to impact. The ones that we did propose to remove are 12-inch or smaller. I think this one's not on this plan. I think it's a 10-inch, and then this one.
The one in the back is junk anyway, it's dying. The
Yeah.
one in the front, I think, is a linden.
Yeah, it's looked healthy, but it's not that large, and it's right on the road.
Yeah.
They both show up as 12, but they're not mature trees. So what we would be looking for your endorsement for today would be to do these practices as proposed, with the caveat of relocating that if this is going to be
Can the other one be redesigned to give some area for snow?
Well, the total footprint, we would want to try to keep that. It's about 785 square feet. That calculation is based on the drainage area. We were trying to, again, avoid impacts to this tree. We could potentially try to shorten this side up a little bit, give you some more space, and that actually help, because if we remove this practice over here, we could actually move this structure as well. So kind of put the structure here, and that would essentially lessen the need to be out this far. We could get a little bit more space probably down here and still make it work. If there's a certain,
At least we have a snow
yeah,
zone.
if you had a snow zone, if it might be hard for us to, if you needed this whole area,
Well, if,
but if you could angle it,
yeah.
that
well,
would be
We'll
probably
do the
achievable.
best we can.
And like I said, these are low maintenance plants. They're grasses, so they could take some piling of
Yeah,
snow.
yeah.
It wouldn't be the end of the world if you did put some
Okay.
snow into it. But yeah, we can tweak the footprint a little bit to maximize that zone for. I have, if you're interested, I have a list of plant species. Again, it's just 5 pretty low maintenance grasses that could be used. Nothing that would require any sort of extra maintenance.
Bob's our plant man.
So would the maintenance, would it require any maintenance, any mowing in the summer months?
It
or
could
is
just
it
be
done-
mowed essentially, like you do everything else. You can mow we will have clean outs for the under drains, so those just need to be avoided. But you can mow it or weed whack it or anything. Nothing fancy, no fancy pruning or anything like that.
Do you have pictures of,
The plants.
no, other ones that you've designed that are functioning?
Oh yeah, plenty.
I mean, we don't have to see it tonight, but at some point.
I have some. I could certainly email pictures of other ones that we've built recently. Look at that. This is one right in Plymouth. Actually, one in Plymouth and one in Sandwich, Massachusetts. This one is on the you're right here is in Plymouth Waterfront Park, right downtown. The city owned. The main walking paths go right, and it actually looks great. It's just this time of year, nothing's flowered or anything right now, but it looks just like that. And the one on the left it's private. It's an affordable housing unit, but.
That down by the East Bay restaurant?
The one in Plymouth is right on Waterfront Park. The one on the left it's an affordable housing complex in Sandwich, Massachusetts. There's also some photos on that sheet of the other practices. I didn't really get into detail about them, but a similar bioretention design, but more of a linear shape to try to fit it within the right of way.
Just a brief question.
Sure.
Those are this other business down here.
Right here?
Yeah.
Yep.
Does that require vacuuming or cleaning or some kind of a maintenance program in any of that?
This maintenance program would be almost exactly the same as these. You have an inlet that would collect some sediment, sediment off the street, sand off the street from the winter time that would be shoveled out, and then just mowing or weed whacking of the plants themselves, and then just general, because it's a slightly depressed area, it might collect some trash or something once a year. Just remove those by hand. But I mean, if you compare that to, it's a little bit different from maintaining a catch basin, but it's still part of the 1 year, 1 or 2 year time per year program that we most likely be doing on down around right now. Yeah, and I'm happy to send more photos if anybody's interested.
And do you have a maintenance plan with these structures?
I do. I just pass this around. I can send this around to the group. That's kind of highlights the frequency and the items that would be.
Could you send us this?
I can. Yep. This one's specifically for a different project, but it's the same maintenance plan. Any sort of bioretention would fall within this, and we actually. I think put this in part of our initial reports already. It should be incorporated with any sort of final drawings. Right now, I'm just trying to get any input at it before we put the final stamp on the drawing and moving forward. So this would accompany, maintenance plan would accompany the final drawings once they're handled.
The original report, yeah.
I believe this.
I'll resend it.
I believe this is in the original.
very nice presentation, and, I think it's great that you're trying to improve the water quality, the stormwater discharge into Walton Cove.
Yeah.
That's terrific, and I think, very nice job.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
So we'll rework those areas and then we'll take another look at it?
Yeah, we'll get the reworked plans to you so you can see them at the final piece. I think what we'll do is we'll get them to you early so you can ask questions. We have Chris basically available for this meeting, but not for for lots of them in the
Yeah.
budget. It's a pretty tight budget for this project. So if you can send the questions once we get them, then we'll have them answered before I come back and show you what the final plans are.
Excellent.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
So
you.
the changes I would anticipate, like I said, just mirroring that smaller one to that other location, and then a minor tweak on
Can
the
can I make a
footprint.
suggestion? With the changes and the modifications and so forth, would it be better to deal directly with Randy and Steve, or Randy with that anyhow? So that, let's get the approval working down there, because they're the guys that are going to have to wind up with the ownership, so. And then, if it needs to come here, we'll be more than happy to. But I think just go direct.
Yeah.
Don't,
That'd be very helpful.
yeah, that would be helpful to everybody, I think,
That works.
I agree.
Thanks so much.
Okay.
Appreciate the time.
Do you want that back?
We got it. Here.
Oh, sorry about that. Good night.
See you later, thank you.
The next item is Zona Salon, 29 Main Street.
Daisy Studio. That's a different salon. That's my competition.
all right, 29 Main Street, all right?
Yes.
Okay,
29 Main Street.
here we go.
Thank you for bringing Hazel. You had asked me to sort of detail out the space the last time I was in here, so completely shifting gears. I do have an explanation of, I know there was a question about the water use, the number of stations, how I'm using the space, and where it is right now, and what the potential future use would be. So, do you have any questions up front?
I guess
Yeah,
the question is, Ed, May, just one question.
Yeah.
The number of chairs is by the regulation, okay? We have to go by that. My question is, like, other than your salon chairs where you do all these cutting and designing and coloring and all that other stuff, other than that, you have other chairs that function differently from that.
Yes.
Are you doing pedicures,
No. Manicures.
manicures? and-
Yeah. We were going to do the pedicures, but we're not going to be doing them. So I do have an explanation of how the space is used. It's a little thorough, but the beginning might seem unrelated to you, but it does loop around to make sense in the end. I actually have about the first 800 to 1,000 square feet, and we're changing it. It's so new, we're just settling in. It is dedicated to a retail store, and that's really my focus. That's my profit center. I net 25 to 30% off of my retail, and at best I net about 5% on services. That's like industry standard for hair salons. So I have exclusive brands that are in high demand that are a big draw for my business. It's a profit center, and it also draws a lot of our clients into Hingham Square. As you probably know, I was up at Derby Street Shops, and did you know that? I was up there for 11 years, and it just became to the point where it didn't make business sense at all to be there. The costs were outrageous, and they were going up all the time. So I really rely on my store. So it is a big draw. I also have a section where I do Hingham High School fundraising, and that is where all of the sports teams or the classes display whatever items they're selling for the different groups in the high school. They can come in year-round, and it's like a school store. And I have local authors, Green Koala made in Marshfield, and I'm going to be selling the Hingham Historical Society merchandise while they're out under construction. So I really focus on the store, but of course the salon is important as well. So I have 10 stylists altogether that go part-time, anywhere from 1 day a week to full-time, 4 days a week. So their shifts and their hours are very different depending upon the day. I only have like 2 stylists on Monday or Tuesday, and then I might have up to 6 on Saturday. And I have 4 apprentices, and again, full-time and part-time. So I don't really hire from the outside for my stylist. It's kind of a long story, but it's just not a good practice to hire from the outside. I tend to not go there. So we really build from within. Yes.
Were you able to reduce the chairs?
Yes, I was. So what I have here, I believe it's 12 chairs in the main salon area. So
Can you just, when you describe main salon area, is that where your stylist?
stylists are.
So you're like a barber shop.
Yeah, actually 1/3 of our clients are men.
So you have 12 chairs. Okay, so you're a barber shop, beauty shop, under the section of state regulations.
We're not a barber
Well,
shop.
no, but the
Under
state regulations are clear, okay, just so that you know. It's by the number of chairs.
Chairs.
Yeah.
It is barber shop, beauty
Get
shop,
in the plan.
okay?
Okay.
So if you're declaring 12,
In the permit.
is that what you're saying? You're
I
taking
have 12, but the way they're used,
No, that's not important. How you retail your business is none of our business, to be honest with you. But the only thing we're trying to determine here is how many actual chairs are gonna be in use. It doesn't matter whether it's full-time or half-time. You have to tell us how many chairs you want on that
well,
application.
it's 12, and the way
12, okay.
we took out the back area, because that's our group event,
Okay.
bridal party, you
Okay.
don't want to
It'll be based on
intermingle
those 12
bridal.
chairs.
Exactly.
Well, there were 19, so you reduced it by
Reduced
7?
you
Yeah.
reduced it to 12, so have you already applied for an application?
With,
They've already paid for 6.
She's
They
already
paid for
They
6.
paid for 6.
Can we get an
Six.
updated
So you
plan?
need to update your application for 12
okay,
and work out a financial agreement for the 12 chairs. You'll be all set.
okay.
And we need a plan, a footprint of the whole,
Okay.
okay?
What about this?
With all the chairs.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
very difficult to try to
Right.
picture in the footprint.
Right.
So we need, what?
You need a footprint.
We need a footprint with,
Okay.
we need the actual plans.
With the stations.
With the stations.
Okay.
We did see one, but
You're
It's
gonna
very
be a
good
busy
work.
place. You have your hands in a lot of different pots.
I do,
Yeah.
because we had such a small area at Derby Street, and we couldn't do a lot of the things that we wanted to do. We couldn't create the right environment, that now we have this space, and we are involved in the town a lot. We do a lot of fundraising, a lot of events, and we have the space for this now at,
Good.
a reduced rent, let's just say.
We get a head shape.
Yeah, actually. Yeah. So,
So what do you think?
Yeah, I think that she's got to,
Uh,
reapply for,
Just
number of
change
chairs.
the application to 12 chairs and make an agreement, a financial agreement to pay the balance, and you're home free.
okay,
All right?
We're gonna need another plan, though.
Yeah.
okay,
We
And
need,
that- that's gonna decide on what we're gonna charge.
yeah,
That's what we're gonna need.
yeah,
okay.
all right? Oh, yeah. That's cool.
Okay.
That's right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, good one. I'm gonna go home to Facebook right now.
Happy Cinco de Mayo Day to you.
You as well, the very best. Thank you.
Oh,
Have a good night.
So So I guess the next item is the number 5, rules and regulations discussion. We still got quite a bit to go on that, here, Randy, right?
Not on the betterment.
Not on the betterment, but
No,
on
what-
the rules and regulations, though.
That's a
This
work in
should say,
progress,
yeah.
and Bob, you can take it from there if you'd like.
This is something we have to do legally. We have Susan Murphy, who's counsel with us, we've gone through all the minutia of making sure that it's legally correct and ready to be,
The betterment.
yeah, it's all vetted, it's ready to go. But one of the things we have to do, of course, besides socializing it, we have to put in the newspaper a specific type of a legal notice for 3 consecutive weeks.
Oh, okay, yeah, no, that's backwards. Did everybody get this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Did I just say anything? Did I miss the beginning of it?
Yeah.
No, well,
Okay.
we just
got here,
started.
yes.
Oh,
We just started.
Okay.
Good.
So you should have a one-page
Yeah.
piece of paper that says at the top, process for adoption of sewer rules and regs,
Yep.
which is based on the statutory requirements for sewer commission. There's a general law, but then there's also the special act that applies to the commission.
Okay.
They're very similar to each other, but a little different because Mass General laws got updated, whereas the special act kind of
Right.
stays static. So you just need to set a date for the hearing, for the meeting, for a regular meeting of the sewer commission. You have to follow open meeting law, but where you're going to be talking about rules and regulations, you may want to set it, do more than 48 hours notice so that if the public, can be aware of it, if they want to see a copy of it in advance, make that available. But technically the only requirement is the 48 hours open meeting law. Then you just have a meeting like tonight and you discuss them, you can change them as much as you want. Continue it as much as you need to, like any other meeting. But then once it's in final form and final meeting, you've got every I dotted the way you want it. Then you vote to adopt them. Once you vote to adopt them, though they're not effective yet, then they need to appear in the news. You have to put a legal notice in the paper notifying that you've adopted regulations. Under your special act, you have to do that 3 weeks in a row in the Hingham Journal. So they're not effective till they appear the 3rd time. Then they're effective.
Yep.
And then within 10 days after that, you need to file them with the town clerk's office. That's a general bylaw in the town.
Okay.
So that's the process. So from start to finish.
Yep.
So say if you decided tonight you were going to set a meeting, however, between now, whenever that meeting is, then however many meetings it takes you to discuss it, let's say 2 for the sake of argument, then you have 3 weeks of publication after that, and then, so you're probably looking at somewhere at, the shortest period is probably like 6 weeks from, and that's assuming you have 2 meetings to discuss, you know what I mean? The regulations, and you don't have to do the regulations, the entire thing all at once. You can do it in sections because the entire body of the regulations are very extensive, and some of them are going to require a lot. Some of them are technical stuff, and some of them may generate a lot of public interest. So you just have to go through this process each time is the only thing. But other than that, you can approach them any way the commission wants to approach them.
What's the time frame on the ad in the paper?
The notice in the paper actually doesn't have to go in until after you've adopted them.
Oh, after we adopt, okay.
The draft version that would be available for the public, would that be, is there any sort of media that's required to be in? Is it a print version
No, I
on
mean,
file with the town
there's
clerk
not-
or
I
at the
mean-
DPW or?
Just like anything else that's on your agenda, if say you were going to have on your agenda, I don't know, to review a plan. Someone might see it's on your agenda, oh, it's the plan, public record, can I see a copy of the plan? In this case where it's rules and regs and they have a lot of force and effect, someone can just call you up and say, can I have a copy? Or Liz was saying sometimes you can post things on your website and then it makes it easier for anyone who wants to go on, and it makes less work probably for the staff. If it's on your website, then they don't have to if they get 10 emails, she doesn't have to send it out 10 times. She can just say on the website.
And if there are that's probably for a large percentage of the people, that would probably be the most convenient way to
Website.
access that,
Yeah.
but there might be some that either don't have access to a computer or aren't familiar with using it, so we could probably have a print version.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you just get it from wherever you want to make it available.
Yeah.
I went through all of this today, Kenny, and I don't know what else, or what much else we can really do. It's already been going through engineering and council.
But what are we talking, the entire thing? What are you talking about?
No, we're talking just about the betterment.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right, sorry, I missed
No,
the first 2
no,
minutes of the
I've
conversation.
gone through all of this, and Kenny, I don't know if you had a chance to read it yet or not.
So I've gone through the draft.
Just this.
Oh, this.
Yeah, just that.
The
That's all.
adoption.
Just the adoption of that. okay?
Yeah, that's what I was just
Yeah.
reading through and just
Right,
had a
but
comment on that.
But tonight's meeting wasn't posted to actually review the rules and regs, it was
No, we're
really
just-
just to kind of talk about the process.
Process, yeah.
So, and to determine if you wanted to set up a date to discuss all or any portion of the regs.
Okay.
When do you want the next meeting?
How about 2 weeks from tonight?
The 19th?
Okay, the 19th. Ed,
Yeah, 19th.
19th of May, and we'll discuss.
Same time? Same time?
Yes, please.
Do you want it in this room, or do you want it in like a different?
Well, that should be basically the only thing on the agenda.
Right.
7 o'clock,
Okay.
May 7?
And if we can get the consolidation agreement to, in draft with the selectmen and Ed.
We can talk about the agenda later, because
Yeah.
there might be something else.
Yeah, okay, so we'll do at least those two things, okay?
And I'll find out what room's available, I'll let you know.
Yep. And then we can go from there.
So
After you come, Kenny, you're coming back when?
yeah, I'll be back, yeah.
Oh, okay, you'll be
Fine.
back
Yep,
for that.
19th
okay.
is fine. Are we taking Division 2 as it's proposed in the current draft, and that's the section that we're gonna be discussing in 2 weeks? So that deals with the betterments,
This is-
assessments,
okay,
connection
this
fees, and
draft
user
number
charges.
is,
I'll be getting another
Right, there's still
another
some-
draft.
So there's
There's
another-
still some work that needs to
Yeah.
happen on it, so
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
On
in the
section
next
2?
couple of days, it'll probably there were some questions that I needed to run by
Yeah.
Andy and Steve, and,
Right.
because I got something that I looked at and started marking up and then had some questions, and I was gonna I didn't have time to bounce it off of them. So once the questions have been addressed, then it'll go to you guys and go
Okay.
out live for the public, so.
Tom?
Yeah, I have a question. My curiosity is piqued because Mr. Higgins is seeming to want to light a fire under getting the betterment portion of this voted on. And I'm unaware of any proposed projects in the pipeline for new projects, new sewer projects. And any existing sewer project that has been constructed, I would think would be bettered under the current regulations. So I guess what I'm trying to get to here is I don't understand why the rush is on to deal with the betterment regulations, the new proposed betterment regulations. So maybe explain that.
It's something, that's something that's been lacking over the last several years of getting things done, Tom.
You don't have to tell me.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying that to be smart. I'm just giving you my answer for why. And it's part of another part of something that we need to complete. That's all it is, okay? How it's applied now, later, before, after, this is all we're concerned about. And this is one of the things that we are concerned about because it requires a special hearing. It requires public notice. It has to go in the newspaper. We're just trying to clean up what we're supposed to be cleaning up. That's all, Tom. You can think whatever you like, but that's it. Just cleaning everything up.
I'm just asking the question. I mean, I'm just trying to figure out where the push is here. I don't understand it unless there's an intent to try to take these new regulations and try to use them retroactively against the prior projects that have yet to
I
be
can't
vetted.
tell you that, Tom. I don't know that, okay?
I think I got my answer.
think it's part of our sewer rules and regulations that we're establishing. Take in?
Yep.
Yeah, I think that these have been in draft form for quite some time now.
Yeah.
So, trying to get
That's why
this
we're trying to get this completed.
and approved, yeah. Let me ask, do we want to, in terms of the public notice, we talked about perhaps giving advance notice longer than 48 hours, so those that
Yeah,
would
well,
want to,
Oh,
so
yeah.
do we want to set it a week? Is that appropriate? And then would we want to have the document available at the same time for like a week's period of time before the next meeting, or is that giving enough
Liz can
time?
post the meeting, you don't, 48 hours is
Post
the
it anytime.
minimum you have to do.
Yeah,
You
no,
guys-
we can post
you
it a
guys
week
can post,
before.
right, you can post
Yeah.
the meeting
Yeah, we could-
tomorrow,
we
and
could-
you can
we could
keep
do it a
adding
week
to your
prior,
agenda
no?
up until the
We could do it a
48
week
hours.
prior.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of, giving adequate time for those that are interested in reviewing the proposed rules and regs, time to read through it, and I would think we'd want to at least have it over a weekend in advance of the meeting on that Tuesday, so we should make sure, if we don't, if there are still some comments that are going through and it's not ready to put up as draft form, I'd recommend that we give at least the courtesy to folks to allow them at least over a weekend before the Tuesday meeting, so they can sit and review them.
Oh, yeah, we're gonna,
We can do that.
yeah, we're gonna do that anyhow. We're gonna socialize it on the website. It'll be 3 or 4 meetings, and by the time we do get to vote with it, it's probably gonna be the 3-week period anyhow.
Yes, I think
Okay.
if I understand it, we'll have a public meeting for discussion, and then
Yeah.
to the extent that there are comments received, and then the vote would be the following meeting,
Yeah, and
potentially?
you can, I mean, you can just do, if you were doing a section of the regulations and there were no significant comments, you could dispose of it, but if you have comments, and you want to take things under advisement or go back and check questions,
Yeah.
you can you can take as long as you need to get it to the place that you feel is
Yeah.
appropriate.
You have any other-
So-
Any other questions on it?
No, so I guess, I'm just making sure they understand the plan.
Yeah.
So we'll plan for the 19th.
19th.
And then if we count backwards from there, we'd want to post it no later than Friday,
Friday, yeah.
before that date.
Okay.
Okay, do you have any more process questions? Is that good, all set?
I think that's it.
Yeah.
Have a good night.
Thank you very much.
Next item is 6, consolidation agreement. I said that I was going to meet with the council, and I'd have it for the next meeting, that is the 12th.
So you're gonna have this ready for the June meeting? Is that- I mean,
Are we going to have, can I ask a question? Do you mind? Are we going to have a final draft to vote on and have it discussed by whomever you have to discuss it with? Because honestly, I've heard this
you're
every
right.
meeting for a year.
Yeah, that's why we need
And
to.
it's getting a little frustrating
Yeah.
to me. So,
So Ed, are you gonna,
Yeah,
this week, you're gonna talk to them?
yeah. So I'll have it on the next meeting,
Okay, so when is the next meeting?
Talked about the 19th.
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 Okay, it has to be done by meeting of the 19th. Okay.
May 9th.
So the next
May
item
19th.
is the sewer rate vote.
Do we have a rate
We do,
discussion?
we do. I've calculated the 15 rate, and based on 14 actual expenditures and income received, as well as 15 anticipated expenditures and credits, I'm coming up with a rate of, where's my pen? 922, and we're at 925 right now, so.
We drop-
So-
good.
Probably just, you want to drop it,
Break
you
even.
just want to leave it at 925.
Okay, 925.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's up to you.
Yeah,
I'd leave it
I think
9:25.
925. Good job, you guys.
You do have to make a motion and vote on
You
it.
have to
so-
vote on it.
I'm not gonna make a motion to leave the sewer rate meeting, rates for this year at 9.25.
Second the motion.
I'll second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so that's okay.
All right, the next item is supervisor's report. Steve?
I'll be brief. I'm just going to read you a memo that I sent to Randy on April 28th. On Friday, April 24th, 2015, the Greenbush Pumping Station required a wet well cleaning as a follow-up to manhole 290 rehabilitation. The purpose of the cleaning was to remove any excess cement that had washed into the wet well during the manhole rehabilitation. In order to keep the water level in the wet well low enough to clean the floor, both pumps required to be running on hand while the jet vac truck sucked debris off the floor. During the time that both pumps were on, they simultaneously became clogged, and the water level rose to a critical condition very quickly. Crews were dispatched to maintain the station flow via bypass pumping. Mill Street Station, which pumps to Greenbush, was shut down. In addition, a reverse 911 call was dispatched to ask residents to limit their water usage until 6 p.m. that evening. Weston and Sampson arrived on site, and after pulling both pumps, discovered that the pump impellers had failed and the pumps needed to be sent out for service. A new flight submersible pump was installed, and the single pump maintained the station flow until we could get the other pumps repaired. I'm happy to report that no businesses or residents experienced any backups during the crisis, and we were back online before the end of the regular scheduled workday. So it was a happy ending, but it was pretty stressful.
Did what you had to do.
That's what we do.
Yeah, great work.
Good work, thank you.
The other items not really to be known. The chair-
I have one thing too.
Okay.
Bayberry Station, Steve Peterson has sent me a schedule, which I didn't want to, he wanted to start today and have it submitted to the Central Register. I thought you would want to hear about it first, so I have basically a schedule here. We don't know what the cost is going to be. We have a rough estimate. We won't know until we bid it out, and so I want to start that process starting next week.
Bids?
We won't have to take the bids if they're too much, because we won't have the money appropriated. I'm working with the capital budget now to see how much we can afford in the capital budget. Things like this come up all the time, so.
Put the dent in it.
So, just to let you know that we do have a schedule. The bid opening would be in approximately 3 weeks after, 3 to 4 weeks after it's advertised and it's put out to bid. We'll give them, the vendors, 3 weeks to put in their bids. And then Steve has down, would give him a notice to proceed. Then he has 180 days to proceed to get it done. I doubt very much that it's going to require 180 days, but we'll see how it goes.
What's the scope of the work going to be there, Randy?
What they're going to do is change that station totally. They're going to put submersible pumps in, and all the electronics will go up top. So none of the employees will have to enter the station. They're going to take it out. They're basically going to line the inside of the station, put submersible pumps in, check valves, whatever they need to do, and then
The control room that we used to enter is going to become the wet well with the submersibles.
There's going to be with a Bilco hatch cover or anything like that? Okay.
Halliday, probably.
Yeah,
yeah.
something similar to
ground
that,
level.
whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
They're going to put the light plant is going to put a new pole in there simultaneously with us, and there'll be a guy pole, a couple of differences, but it's going to be better.
So it's going to be attractive for the neighborhood then, right?
More attractive.
Yeah, and once it's done, we'll come to you and tell you, and then we could probably, we'll get a hold of the neighbors about what they want to see there, and if it's feasible.
Perhaps we could have a public meeting with the neighbors.
Yeah,
Are we gonna have, is there a fence gonna?
I think you said that anyway, the last time they were here.
Randy, you planning to put a fence up or not on that?
It,
Some kind of a, no? Okay.
it's gonna be more secure now.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I think when the neighbors were here at that meeting, you said you'd talk to them and see what they wanted and what was practical for us and what the design was. So, this is for, getting the station functional. Then we'll have to look at the aesthetics
The
later on.
landscape and aesthetics and stuff.
And consider future maintenance, access for
Mhm.
maintenance and all of
Yeah.
that,
Oh, when you're ready, we'll have it, we'll have them, we'll meet them over there.
I've done some talk with them out there, and, they're probably going to be happy with plantings, but we'll let them weigh in.
Sure.
It's gonna be pretty level anyway, right?
The access hatch will be level, and there'll be a new control panel cabinet put in place where the existing one is now.
It'll be more attractive than
Yeah.
what we see today.
Okay.
And I'll give you an update of where we're at the next meeting, as far as the schedule goes.
Steve, during the construction, will you be talking with the neighbors over there? I'm sure they'll be
I'll be on
inquisitive,
site.
they'll want to know what's going on and stuff like that.
I'll be on site.
Yeah, maybe get the,
Probably send letters prior to let them know what's going on.
yeah,
And answer any questions.
yeah,
You can
They'll
put
be
a
on the
piece of
website,
it
Yeah.
and we'll socialize
yeah,
it.
socialize it, yeah. That's good.
We'll have a pizza party. Tom?
Yeah, just a couple of quick questions, I'll just tell you what they are, so, and more addressed at Randy, is that, I would like to know what the total cost of the Ship Street Cottage Street sewer project is. I want to ascertain whether or not the prior representations that were part of the cost of repaving Ship and Cottage Street is going to be put into that sewer project, the cost of the sewer project. And the third thing I just want to let you guys know is that National Grid is supposed to be, I emailed Randy on this, but National Grid's going out, I think sometime this week, to put a stub to the 9 Ship Street property. So, I know you guys are, I think you guys have had somebody out there marking our utilities on Ship and Cottage. So, I know.
On 9 Ship Street?
And I know, because Riley's people out there wrote them the manhole covers, so I know it's supposed to be starting probably pretty soon.
Well, the cost doesn't, the only paving cost is the one going into North Street that we have to repave. That's the only cost for that Ship and Cottage. Everything's coming out of the paving budget.
So where the Cottage Street line is, or where the Ship Street to North Street, because it both went into North Street on.
Cottage to North.
Okay. And how much of that is going to be repaved? Is that going to be an extensive repaving?
No, that's gonna be the width of the road.
The width of Cottage Street?
I think it's 30, yeah, it's 30 feet, yeah.
30 feet.
And do we know what the final cost of the project is yet?
The final cost,
Of the Ship Street?
we're pretty close, yeah.
Well, I guess the question is, when is that going to come up? 'Cause that's going to be determining the betterment, right?
Yes. I don't know an actual date, but it's gonna be very soon. I don't know what you want me to tell you.
No, I'm just curious, because
Yeah.
there's been no betterment. It's been getting close to a year.
All the costs just have to be added up, that's all. We're double checking it.
Push your luck.
Is there any other discussion on,
We done, or
I think we are. You wanna
make a motion to adjourn?
Here a second.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
We be done.